Dear Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to come together tonight to conduct the city's business, and we just ask that you guide us and allow us to make good, healthy decisions for the city and our citizens. Lord, we ask that you bless this meeting and allow it to be a courteous and professional meeting that results in the good for all of our citizens. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Call to order the meeting of City Council meeting for March 16th, 2023. Jim, will you lead us in the pledge?
Sure.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Mayor, before you start, can you make sure you use the mic so that we can hear you?
I actually had that on here. I have that on my note.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Can you all please speak into the microphone so everybody can hear and so the recording can pick it up, please? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, Miss Vicki, whenever you're ready to call roll.
J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Lewis Short,
Here.
Lane Tubbs,
Here.
Jim Adams,
Here.
Melissa Choate,
Here.
Allie Sugg,
Here.
Jim Lay, Andy Eklund,
Here.
Rebecca Prince, here, Mayor,
Here.
and the press.
Let the record show we have a quorum. First off, I need a motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve the meetings from February 16th, 2023.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Miss Vicki, whenever you're ready.
Andy Eklund,
Abstain.
Allie Sugg,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Abstain.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Lewis Short,
Yes.
J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Motion carried. Next, I need a motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve the minutes from the February 21st, 2023 City Council meeting plus excerpts.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
There he is, yeah.
Welcome, Jim.
I made it.
Sorry, I'm late.
You good, bro? Hi, Jim. Good, you?
Okay, Miss Vicki, whenever you're ready.
Okay, Lewis Short,
Yes.
J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
This is for the 21st meeting, abstain.
Allie Sugg,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Abstain.
Motion carried. Next, I need approval of payment journals from February 1st to February 28th, 2023. That's the Street Fund, Financial, Sanitation Fund, General Fund, and Community Center O&M.
Make a motion to approve those payment journals.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Who was the second?
I wanted to get a confirmation. I saw the payment for turf. Was that for the park, for the bond project?
Maybe.
Okay, I was just,
Josh may know.
the payment for the turf, was that for the spring park project?
What was the amount?
That's the only turf that we purchased.
I don't know, around 8,000.
That should be it. I
Okay.
believe so.
The turf and the padding are there. They're,
In the,
Yeah.
okay. So then that will be reimbursed by the bond as part of the projects?
Should be paid with the bond money.
Okay, I just looked like it was coming out of O
It was
and
out of
M.
Parks and Rec, or, yeah.
It was in O and M for Parks and Rec.
Can we buy turf or anything else?
AgriTurf,
We had some turf that we bought for, it wasn't actually turf, it was, sodding for, this is the first time, I believe, in like 8 years, is what Travis
For the
told
ball
me.
field?
For the ball
Oh,
fields.
okay.
So that could be it, but I believe that amount was for Spring Park.
okay.
I could be getting those mixed up. I don't know off the top of my head.
We can double check on
Is
it.
it- is that- So it's in O&M?
Yeah, community.
AgriTurfing, Inc.?
Yeah, so that's
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 the
the
ball
company.
field? Yeah, but
That's the company.
that's the ball field turf.
That's ball
though.
field, yeah, that's ball field turf.
Of our supplies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Vicky?
Lane Tubbs,
Yes,
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
yes.
Motion carried. You have your supervisors' reports in your packets. Do you have any questions for them this evening?
I saw Josh wanted to increase rates, membership rates. Is that something we need to vote on, or can he go ahead and do that without us?
I don't think that we have to vote on it. I'd ask Rebecca
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
Does that
Well,
look good?
I thought it was good. I
When
just
is it
didn't know if we
effective?
needed to vote on it.
It was in there, I don't
The
remember
rate.
the date. When is it effective, the rate
He
increase?
wanted
The
April
rate,
3rd.
we were wanting that April 1st. We're going up from, it's in a 3-month, right now currently it's $40, we're gonna go 45. It's like literally a $1.70 a month. From my knowledge from the staff here, we haven't ever gone up on rates. And we're gonna start including the classes. It's what I'm accustomed to, like where I've came from in the past. Hopefully, obviously, more people will start attending the classes, therefore the classes will grow, participation, and then our membership will grow because of that as well.
Because if they
That's the
come
plan.
to a class, is it like $5 extra for each class?
Some are 10. And
Okay.
at one time, some were $25, some of the
Okay,
bungee
so
classes.
this will include all classes?
This is going to include classes, the
If
bungee
they have a
classes.
membership. If they have a membership.
If they have a membership.
Okay.
So some of the classes are not well attended right now. It's one of my responsibilities, I feel like, is try to increase attendance in those classes along with membership. So I feel like this is a way we can get there. And I've had success with this in the past this way.
I noticed the individual for the 12-month is actually less.
Yeah, so we don't offer a price break right now. One thing that I do think with the pickleball players, since we have people coming in from Cersei and from all over the place playing pickleball, those are typically people who do have money that will pay an annual membership. So I figure we could give a price break for that for the annual membership.
What percentage of it are on a month-to-month automatic cycle builder?
So we don't have auto draft, and that's.
We need that.
Yep, and so I looked at that, and in your packet, it actually says auto draft. I did a test run here in the last, since I've made that packet. It's not gonna work the way we want it to, but that's something long-term that we need to look at, because it's definitely worth having the auto membership drafted each month. It's a way to retain membership, obviously keep revenue, and it takes work off the front desk. They can be doing other things instead of having to help people as they're coming in to renew each month or every 3 months.
Thank you for getting everything organized in that report and for getting us like tangible information to look at where we can see the programs and how you're,
Good.
working towards improvement.
And I am, as we kind of spoke about, I'm going to start putting in large budget expenses as well. For instance, we make $19,000 in softball and baseball. We spend $9,000 on uniforms, and not including, obviously, umpires and things like that, so you can see how that was eventually going to offset. Lets us know if we need to increase prices or exactly what we need to do.
What about our goal? Did we get that fixed yet?
It hadn't been fixed yet, so it's my fault. I called the guy. We missed the basketball season. I told him, I said, hey, basketball season's over with, so don't worry about it. If you have some other things you got to do, you can put me on the back burner. It's a company that I've worked with in the past. He told me he would have it done by April 1st, so I told him that was fine. So contacted him earlier this week, told me that he would have it done by April 1st, so. Should be done pretty quickly. And that's just something that I would like to do, start using companies. I know we used to fix things like that in-house, but those don't come with warranties. From my understanding, it was broken last year and it was fixed, and then it was broken the year before and it was fixed also, so it seems like.
That go?
That's what I was told. So it was something that we were repeatedly fixing year after year, and so this company will come in with a warranty. If it does break or anything like that, it's on them, they'll come and fix it for free.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for the supervisors?
Yes. Public Works, with the whole recycle issue, do we have a plan in the works?
We have reached out to a lady named Teresa to talk about taking over recycling, but I don't know that it's feasible.
As in, they would pick it up, or we would pick it up and deliver it to them, or what, where's?
As in, we would do the recycling.
So we would handle it in-house and generate,
That's what we had.
keep the revenue if there
We
is
had
any.
talked about, yeah, but money-wise, I don't know. I mean, that's a discussion that we probably need to have.
Okay.
So are grants available for startup, or, I mean, is it the sustainment of it that we would, because there's not any money.
Right. I mean, we would be lucky to break even from it.
So we can get money probably to start it up, but then we've got to,
But then we've got to store it, we've got to bale it, and we have to wait for the market to be right to sell it. And we have to have manpower to operate the baler. And
So at best, to be revenue neutral, basically.
so we're at the county's mercy on recycling?
Well, I believe the recycling is actually one of the county's responsibilities.
But that's determined by Waste Connection?
They had the facility. Waste Connections had the facility, and the city picked it up for free and dropped it off to them.
Yeah.
I guess there's been a change in the company, and they don't want to do it anymore because it's costing them money.
So the chances of us actually having a revenue neutral recycling thing is pretty low if they got free pickup and they were losing money.
Right.
There's monies available for startup costs to
Sure.
do it, but sustaining it by employment, by
That's what I mean.
employees
Yeah,
and stuff.
the longevity
then
of it.
We're right back into,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, to me, it sounds like at this time, if they can't even break even, we probably need to just throw it away, unfortunately.
I
for
don't
now.
know, yeah, and I don't know if there's other companies out there that would come pick it up. I don't know.
I don't know. I guess we need to look into that, but I guess
Yeah.
the immediate, near term, we're probably just, don't need to be running the additional routes, just
Right.
so
have
we're
our
putting it
citizens
all on,
compact it and get rid of it with the trash.
we're putting it all on the trash now?
Mhm.
Okay, do we need to allow, I mean, like I know at my house,
Mhm.
my recycling would take at least a full bag. Do we need to allow more
Allow
for
for
recycling?
More bags to be picked up.
Instead of three, maybe allow an extra bag for that, or?
Maybe, I mean, they can still keep it separated and set it out. I know that's a lot of work, but if it's
I
just
mean,
boxes.
It's going in the
that's-
same place, though.
Yeah, it's going in the same place. And I hate it.
It's not good.
No, it's not good.
But really, the past year or two, the only thing they were doing was the cardboard.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
all
Corrugated.
plastic,
Yeah,
anything
corrugated
else was
cardboard.
going in the trash, cause
Mhm.
if there was anything in it, water, anything, it was going in trash.
Contaminated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it was nice to have the cardboard, recycled, but, and who knows, maybe somebody picks that up and we could work something out with them.
Maybe we could work something out with Harps. I see their stuff
Yeah.
stacked out there all the time.
Yeah, I thought about that.
With who?
Yeah.
With Harps,
Oh, yeah?
They're obviously
Yeah.
doing it.
that might be a lot for him, though.
Okay, years
We have
ago.
a lot of cardboard.
Years ago, I checked with Osceola Waste, and they will put a float trailer down at Public Works and pick it up.
So they'll drop off a trailer and then come pick it up?
Yeah, I've got an alarming number of plastic bottles. I got to looking, you know. And if anybody's got half as many as I got, and it's going in that dump, that's a bad place for it.
Well, we can ask the recycle lady about it, Miss Teresa, and see if she
Okay,
knows.
There's Osceola Waste, and I can't remember now the guy's name that I talked to, from Osceola Waste. There's somebody in Heber put me on it. But a good possibility we can save a lot of hauling trash. Plastic bottles don't weigh anything, but they can
They take
still
up
be
space.
recycled.
Well, we'll make some calls and check on it.
Okay?
Okay? Anything else for the supervisors?
Is Ryan here, the fire department?
Yep. Yep, he's hiding back there.
Okay. I was just gonna thank you guys for working. It looks like you did a free training for the jail employees. Keep them in compliance, the SCBA training. And thank you guys for doing that, working with.
Is that it? Thank you. Okay, before we get started in our business, I'm gonna let Bo from Train give his presentation on our energy audit for the community center. You can, unless you think you can project.
Well, if he uses that, it'll be on the video.
That's
That's
true.
the tallest guy you could find.
Yep.
Might be the tallest. Thanks for having me, and thanks for allowing us to talk. I assume most of you are not here to listen to me, but I'll try to get through this pretty quick. All of you. Okay. Can you hear me better on now? Okay. Everyone on up here on the council should have an electronic copy of this in your Dropbox, and this turned off on us. Oh man. I think it turned off. You do? That's good, right? I'll give everyone a kind of quick update. We had responded to a request for proposals, a request for qualifications from the Arkansas Energy Office and from the city. We awarded that, and we did an energy audit looking to do an energy performance contract. What that allows municipalities, counties, state governments, even the federal government to do is leverage energy and operational savings instead of having to rely on tax revenue or other revenue. So this kind of frees up budget to do other things. The main purpose of this was driven from the additional work that was, sorry guys, that the city's looking to do with some of the improvements from the bond refinance. The main areas we were looking at were lighting around the city, mostly here, interior and exterior. Pool pack replacement, so that's fixing the dehumidification unit at the natatorium. That hasn't worked in a number of years, and that's causing some issues with the interior side of the building. Also, it's not ventilating that area. So a lot of this was done to kind of free up budget so that other money can be put towards these other projects. Additionally, there was some additional mechanical work here and some controls, and I don't know why this is not working. Looks like it's coming on now. So we had provided an investment grade audit last month. I'm just here just to kind of give everyone a quick update, go through those numbers, and give a quick overview of our findings. Sorry, everyone. Okay, all right. So this is where we are today. Here's a little bit of the calendar of what we went through this process. I've got the red X here. We provided this investment grade audit report, and we're looking to potentially start a project here. So here are the focus of the scope and energy savings. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but this is the primary focus from the city, working with the city and going over some of the areas of improvement. The big area here was improving the building automation controls. Everything was original. That's going back to about 15 years and needed some additional work. What this will enable this property to do is to become a little bit more advanced, have better scheduling, better remote access, and this will allow a lot of energy savings, which will save this city a tremendous amount of money. This was another big priority, was fixing the dehumidification unit for the pool. There needs to be some re-engineering, some ductwork that needs to be changed from there. And a big area that we think that the improvement can be is from moving the remote condenser away from this so it's outside of the airstream. One thing that's helping pay for a lot of the improvements there is lighting retrofit. We're looking to do exterior and interior, and looking to also fix the lighting controls so that can be controlled through the system and being scheduled as well with the HVAC. So financial options, I've gone over this with the mayor and some others. Typically, there's a combination that helps pay for projects like this. Most of it comes from energy savings and operational savings, but there's a lot of federal funds, and the Arkansas Energy Office is offering a revolving loan fund at 0.4% interest that's capped at 10 years. So this is a quick financial summary. Might lose some people here. Everyone that's on the council should be able to have access to look at this. This is one scenario, or the scenario for 3 different options there, that's through the Arkansas Energy Office revolving loan fund. That loan is a 0.4% interest. It's 10-year. It's got some stipulations. So what this is this is 100% financed. This option here is using some of the leftover American Rescue ARPA funds that's being prioritized towards ventilation for the pool unit. And then the third option is an additional down payment to make this a little bit more budget neutral. We have some additional things that help pay this down. This is additional discount. This is Entergy has one building, so they offer some incentives. And then from here down is where you're going to see the annual debt service, the guaranteed energy savings and operational savings there, and then the capital contribution on an annual basis to close that gap. We also believe that we'll be able to help the city get part of the IRA tax deduction for a 179. If we are able to improve, or you're able to improve your city building by 25%, there's additional tax savings that gets transferred to nonprofits and non-taxable entities with the IRA. Any questions?
You said that that's guaranteeing the savings on it?
On the energy savings, yes. Yes.
So if we only save 60,000, you guys,
We would cut a check for shortfalls.
and that's through the 10-year lifespan of the project?
It's actually, yes, yeah. Guaranteed through that 10 years or 15 on the next page where there's a different financing option. And there's an M&V part of that, so if there's a shortfall, we cut the checks.
Understanding is that First Electric Water, what this is on, is not doing the same.
No. Because all Entergy customers and SWEPCO customers pay a little bit of rate tariff. That goes into a fund to run those programs. Typically, co-ops and municipalities that offer those do not have incentive programs.
So what building is that? That's City Hall?
This, so what we're looking at there, this would be fire station, this building, the natatorium or aquatic center, and the new municipal building.
Okay, so that's all lumped into this, and then the energy savings is just the city.
All of everything, all of the scopes there. Now, lighting is a one-time retrofit because they just measure the wattage, but yeah. Okay. This scenario is what we typically see in other states. The Arkansas Energy Office has funded that revolving loan fund to make that attractive. This is a scenario of either a tax-exempt lease purchase or a bond, traditional bond. Typically, these are over 15 years. These are the indicative the indicative rate that we were getting, just as inquiry, was somewhere in that 3.5 to 4%. That was a couple months ago. So I went with the 3.8. Same scenarios here. Just like if you had a car loan for 5 years versus 3 years, that annual debt service does come down simply because it's 15 years, but it's a higher interest rate. And same situation here, and you can see those shortfalls. So that's the thing is the Arkansas Energy Office, ADQ, has funded, they're probably going to put even more money into it because of some of the financial federal money they got. But to help fund these projects, they're putting a very competitive rate. And that 0.4% interest, the reason why they even have that is just to cover some of the administrative costs. It's free money, yeah. So that's going to be, most all the equipment would be manufactured, and we would have a 1-year full warranty on a project standard. But most all the major stuff like lighting stuff, that's 7 to 10 years, 12 years, stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. I'll try to go through this really, really quickly. I think this is just something I think that's very interesting for you guys. So a lot of stuff changed with Inflation Reduction Act. There's an opportunity for all cities, counties to take advantage of additional to Section 179 is the investment tax credit. This, you can see this right here. Your city actually is in an energy community. So anything you do here would qualify for potentially a 50% tax credit on a project that's qualified. The domestic content is 10%. They bumped it up to 6 with the inflation reduction to 30%. This is where I was showing you that the city of Heber Springs, see that blue? That indicates that you do qualify for that additional 10%. And then one thing that's not covered here, but we just wanted to kind of highlight this mostly because of the tax thing is with your air-cooled chiller out there, it's 15 years, usable life 20 years. We would never advocate to you replace that now. But you do have an opportunity here to take advantage of some federal money. What we would propose is an ice storage system. This then, is more, but it's completely covered by the tax savings. And what this would do is also enable you to have another $12,000 to $15,000 in savings, because this really maximizes the peak demand. About 25 to 30% of the utility bills for these two buildings are time of use, where you're getting penalized for that 3 to 7 range, where you pay a much higher rate. And so this would help you shed that, where it would shut down the main air conditioner and just run pumps and just moving ice and cold water. And so here's just the economics. You can see that in yours. I might lose some people here, but what they're allowing now is they're allowing nonprofits and non-taxable entities to then take these tax credits, almost like a rebate. So an example here, what we're talking about here, the different in cost, but it's pretty much all covered by that 48 investment tax credit. So, any questions? So the difference is, like, if you were to do a traditional project, the city would have to come up front, pay that as progress, and we pretty much have to pay for that project, as it's completed or with a contractor. You would have to pay that out of your general funds, CapEx funds, with tax revenue or other revenue coming in. What this allows you to do is essentially partition that off, collateralize the operational and energy savings as the asset that the loan's against, and this kind of frees up some capital there. So instead of having that first cost, what you were able to do is kind of spread that out and make that up over different time periods.
What's the lifespan on one of I know the lights are typically 10 years, but the chiller and all the other stuff, what's the lifespan on that? Is this going to come due just as it's ready to be replaced
20
again?
years on air-cooled chiller. Ice tanks are 30-something years. Most lights are anywhere from 7 to 10, depending on that. I think anything other HVAC units are going to be probably mostly like 15 years for smaller stuff. And then boilers, if there's small boilers, probably 20 years.
Okay.
Good? All right, thank you.
what's the next step?
So I think what we would do is, we already provided an investment grade audit. I think we've provided the contract template to the Arkansas Energy Office and to the city to review. I think at that point, it's just narrowing down some of the scope. There's a few options in there, the expanded option, and then I think it's just general process for the city on making that decision. But what I understand is we probably weren't going to make a decision tonight, that we were going to provide some paperwork and that this was the opportunity to look over it.
Okay.
So is this like, we got a month or two, or we need to do it rather quickly, or?
I mean, I think with anything, the challenge is, I think we've got a good bit of time. I don't know if we've got like 6 months because of how much inflation and cost change, but I think we've got leeway. I think it typically 30, 40, 90 days, somewhere in there is.
Well, we were waiting on this to be completed so that we can move forward and figure out how to fund some of our other bond projects.
Oh, and additionally, I didn't want to put this here, but we're also working with the city to reduce some of the maintenance expenses here. So we think that, we'd be able to help out with some things that probably maybe free up 15 to 20,000 additionally. That's not reflected here from past expenses.
Gotcha.
Great, thank you, Bo.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Nick, could I invite you up to give just a quick little update on some bond projects, follow up with this?
Just put that on the stand.
The Razorbacks won
Oh, nice.
in Princeton Beach, Virginia.
Good evening. Is there anything specific, just kind of big picture of everything that's going on?
Yeah, lots of people asking questions. Of course, the bonds,
Right.
passed those a couple of years ago,
Right.
which, this was part of the bond process. So if you'll
Correct.
just kind of do a recap of where we're at on the bonds that you have, which you don't have trails and you don't have stormwater,
That's
right?
correct.
And
That's
then you
correct.
have everything else,
Right.
not the fire truck, but, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And can I just kind of, I guess, start off with following up with what Bo just presented?
Absolutely.
And why that presentation is important. So when we, kind of reverse back to summer last year, we got into, because one of the bond projects is the community center and aquatic center rehab. And it's a pretty good laundry list of things that needed to be corrected or fixed here at this facility. So when we got into researching, specifically the big item was the dehumidification equipment, the pool pack over at the aquatic center. It's been down for several years, and this was going to take up really all of that line item of the bond fund to fix. And so as we did our research and we started going through, started looking at the energy costs here at the community center as well, and figured out pretty quickly that we were way above norm, what you would see. So that's when we called Train specifically because all of the equipment here in this facility is Train equipment. And so we got to looking at how can we begin to correct some of these issues, and it came up that there was an opportunity to go through the Arkansas Energy Office, which is what he was referring to with the financing component. And if we did that, then we could potentially fund not only the pool pack through that mechanism, but also come in and address the utility expenses, which was pretty important because the O&M here at this facility. That drives that number. It gets it out of whack pretty quick. So that was really the driver of that. So by coming in and doing LED upgrades and working on controls and all the stuff he was talking about, how to offset peak demand on energy usage, we can get, what they're guaranteeing right now is $56,000 annually in savings. Well, that can go to pay off the pool pack and then also do something really neat, which is take that feature of the bond, that dedicated fund there, because, under the Parks and Rec heading, there's 5 or 6 different projects there. We then free up some of those funds, because the other thing that was going on, I'm sure as you all know, and everybody in this room has experienced, is we've had a lot of inflation over the last 24 months. And so that was starting to squeeze a lot of these projects. So, you know, when those funds were forecasted and budgeted back in 2021, those budgets were really, really tight. So this allows us to utilize portion of the funds that was going to go to correct this facility and fix things to, you know, divert it to enhancing other projects. Specifically the splash pad, that was the big one that was, it was tight to begin with, and now we're going to wind up, you know, really increasing that budget, depending on which option you all decide to go with. That's why he laid out those three options. You know, option one being you fund it all through the Arkansas Energy Office. Of course, at that point, you would have a bit of a payment, and then there's, you know, it kind of goes down a tier where, you know, we can use, you know, the community center rehab funds to pay that down along with a portion of the ARPA funds, and you kind of come out net on that. So then you immediately take advantage of all those savings. You're still going to be able to enhance the splash pad. That's a given at this point. We're going to increase that budget. So that's happening. It's just kind of a matter of how much and how you all want to balance all of those things out.
Can I make a question on that?
Yeah,
Ask a
sure.
question on that? So as we bring the splash pad online, it's going to have various pumps and electrical demands
Correct.
as part of it. That'll obviously be 2023 standards. This one is 2005 or whatever it is, standards. To me, it would make sense, or we should definitely examine bringing all of this to the maximum energy efficiency, because we're about to add a whole heck of a lot of demand to it on a monthly basis for at least a good portion of the year.
Right, which was also, and I agree with you, and that's also the important part about, you know, beginning to drive down the O&M, so we're freeing up some cap room to absorb some of those additional increases operationally we're going to have.
Right.
So that part's taken a little bit of time to go through, because obviously going through a state program, you've got to go through the proper procurement process, which we had to write an RFQ. We had to go through a selection process with Train. We had 5 different vendors that came in and interviewed, toured the facility, submitted their qualifications, and then went through that selection process. And so we're working through Arkansas Energy to fulfill all of that. And now we're at the end of it. So that's what he's presenting tonight, laying out those options. So then after you have time to thoughtfully consider it, you can pick the best one that you think is in the best interest of the city going forward. So any questions on that specifically? Did I miss anything on that, bro?
No, I mean, I think that covers it well. I mean, the thing that I think we were trying to accomplish is try to figure out something creative to deliver what the community voted on with the bond refinance. I know with working with you guys, or some of you, there was some concern and some frustration about the cost going up and having to water down some of that scope. So that was the main focus there. This building, what we're, I think, looking at is shaving almost 33–35% off of the energy, which is extremely high. That's way above normal, so there's a lot of opportunity.
Hey, Bo, how does, by us adding in all the pumps and everything else that's gonna be coming with the splash pad, how does that affect the guarantee?
So what we do is we do a M&B, we have licensed measurement verification people. There's a process there. There's A, B, C, and D. So there's different ways to measure that. We're able to pull out, what we're talking about is not measuring whole building, but we're measuring key parameters and tracking at that level. So lights is a one-time thing. Some of the other stuff is a quarterly or annual measurement. We're able to back some of that out. And just so you know, pumps are an issue, but pumps also have a fan curve. So if you have VFDs or stuff like that, you have an exponential energy curve. And I'll tell you, HVAC probably, after you do lighting, HVAC will represent about 60+% of your electric. The pumps won't be so bad. So once you do lighting, the lion's share of your cost here will be HVAC.
So right now, we're paying a lot of inrush, the kicking on and off constantly.
Correct.
Over 25% of your actual bills that you pay to First Electric is specifically
The peak
demand charges.
is the peak.
Yeah,
Well,
just when
ramps
you're,
up
it's
and
when
then
you're using
levels
it.
off.
And that's typically summer, it's time of use.
Yep.
It's when it's where the biggest drag is, and that's when Nuclear One, Entergy has to pay additional peakers or additional generators to generate that.
Okay.
And that kind of dovetails into part 2 of his presentation, which was the chiller and the ice storage and all that. And so that will be the subsequent decision to be made. given the life, where the current chiller is on its, in its life cycle, do you want to, are you going to begin to depreciate? Because, in forecast for that, because that's a known cost as it stands right now. Of course, it will inflate in the future. Or do you kind of want to pull that forward and take advantage of some additional operational savings, as well as some, in a roundabout way, a grant program that's out there. So again, that's not a decision that has to be made tonight, but sometime in the coming weeks, I think that's one that's on the queue for you guys to decide.
That's separate from.
Right.
It's not in the contract that we talked about.
Right.
But I think with this money that the federal government's putting out there, it's a huge opportunity for municipalities if they have what we call a shovel-ready project that's ready to go.
Right. Any questions about any of that? So again, that's why sort of and I don't want to say delay on the splash pad, because the survey's done, some concepts are done and all of that, but until we had a specific budget identified, knew what we were going to save and where we could move some things over, enhance it, we didn't really want to get started and have to get into a bunch of redesign stuff. So now that we're there, once this decision gets made and you can decide which option to go with, we're locked in and we can move on that. So I think that kind of covers, hopefully, too, the community center and the splash pad at the same time. Then other projects that we're working on, Spring Park is, as you've probably seen, it's beginning to go. It's wet, it's mucky, and down there in the park, there's, I don't know how many years of rotten mulch down in there, so they're burying up quite regularly, trying to move all that stuff out. I would forecast, based off the contractor's feedback, that probably in the next 2 weeks, they should have the ribbon curb poured around the area of the park that's going to be turfed. And then once that ribbon curb's poured and they get the gravel base in, the rest of it will go fairly quickly. But I think it's still well on schedule to be done before we get into really nice season where people are going to be out. So before Memorial Day for sure. Sandy Beach is pretty much the same way. The slab should be poured on that project probably in the next 2 weeks as well. And then once they get the slab poured, obviously the rest of it should get moving pretty quick. Huntington Place, that project was bid back in January. We had a bit of a delayed notice to proceed on that just to kind of get through the rainier season, which I hope we're there. I think everybody is. The contractor has mobilized equipment over there. They mobilized over March 6th, so the equipment is actually there to begin working on the street overlay and all of that. So that's going to probably be starting, not probably, it's going to be starting the week after next. They'll get started on that. The other project that we have actively going is the drainage downtown at South 7th Street. It's approximately 70% complete, so I would say in the next couple of weeks that one should be done. And then the only other thing that we've got going is ultimately the downtown beautification component of the bond. And that one, we would like to wait until we see what stormwater is going to tear up, just to be totally honest. We don't want to go in there and put in new sidewalk or do anything else. It's going to have a bunch of bells and whistles to it that we wind up tearing back out. So that just seems to be wasteful. So once we see that scope of work and we know exactly what we've got to, what confines we've got to work in, then we'll move forward on that project. So, any questions?
Sure.
Is Clint here to give us an update on where that project is, or no?
No, but all I can give you is the trail is ready to be paved any day. I don't know if they're waiting on weather or where they are with that. And I expect the stormwater to be bid out. He keeps telling me it should be this month.
The trail's 2 parts though, right?
It
It's
is.
2 phases. They're
Yes,
just doing phase 1 right now.
Right, and it's almost, phase 1's ready to be paved.
Has
They've
phase
already-
2 been bid out yet?
I'm not sure.
Do you mind providing us with an update for phase 2, and then if no traction's been done on the paving or the stormwater between now and next meeting, can we get an update on there?
Absolutely.
Ask him to come in?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
There you go.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Okay, we have unfinished business, leaves and limbs. We know it's a hot topic. We passed an ordinance to terminate the contract at our last meeting. They have 30 days to cure, 60 days for it to terminate. Then we can put out another RFP and start the process all over.
what is their intent? What is their feedback from them that they want to get out of it as well? Can you disclose that, or is it not? We don't want to speak for them, probably?
Well, they are gonna continue to work the 60 days.
Okay.
But we did ask them to terminate immediately, right? If that was an option, so that we could go ahead and put out the RFP, but they didn't want to do that. Is that what I understand from that? Wasn't that what we were asking?
That's
No.
not at all what you asked. What
I
you all-
thought that we asked them if they would.
Well, what the council decided was to terminate on a 60 days notice, and there were like 3 different options for termination in the contract, but you chose the one that gave them 60 days notice of termination with 30 days to cure, so that's where we are.
Yeah, but I thought we
And then
were saying.
Yes, and we,
If we both agreed to
Yes.
terminate
absolutely.
now, then we could go ahead and
But
put
they
out the
didn't want to
RFP, but
terminate
they said no on that.
That's
Because we
right.
even at first thought they were just gonna do 30 days, but did they come back and say,
He
no,
come
we're
back
gonna
and
do the
said,
60
I told him I needed
days?
something in writing that said, what they were gonna do.
Is
Did they
anybody
give that
from-
to you?
Are there anybody here representing Greers Ferry Total Property Maintenance?
Nope.
Where are we on the 30 days? To
It'll be
cure.
at the end of this month.
March 27th.
So
or
27th, 28th
March
will be 30 days.
So if they don't cure it by then,
Then we can put out the RFP.
okay, we could go ahead and put it out then. They
Yeah.
still have 30 days, even
No.
after that?
It'll
or-
terminate in 30 days. That second 30 days will be done.
So after the 30 days after they receive notice, which will be around March 27th or 28th, we can put out the RFP. So they no longer have an opportunity to cure, but they still have 30
They're
days to
still
continue to
contracted
work.
with
That's
for
right.
another 30 days, okay.
And we have received suggestions what I asked was that everyone take a look at the RFP and to make suggestions for the previous RFP and to make suggestions for modifications. And I have received some from Melissa and from Jim.
But that was everything that we talked about,
Okay.
right? Nick, where's he at? Nick, you had a bunch of suggestions, right?
Well,
Isn't that
yes,
what-
I think Melissa forwarded Nick's
Yes.
Yeah,
suggestions.
I mean, and I think that was
That
kind of
covered
a,
everything.
yeah, that was,
So
she said
we'll
it in,
draft
but that
another
was
consensus.
RFP and then
Yeah.
send it around again for everybody to look at again. We want to make sure that this time that we have, now that we kind of know what we're doing,
yeah.
that we have everyone's input and.
So here's my question. We have a mess. I mean, we all agree our city has limbs and leaves everywhere. When I'm running, like it's in the road, sometimes I know it's hard to even see sometimes when the piles. What can we do plan-wise? In the meantime, I hate to sit here on our hands for 60 days.
Yeah, can
We
we
have
get?
equipment.
I think, can we get our public works out to at least help?
Is that an option to do, or do
Yeah.
we have to wait to the end of the 30 days? I mean, I know we don't have a place, we have to, part of it, I guess, is a place to store it, right?
Right.
About
Until
10
the
days
next-
until the 27th.
But we can probably, I don't know if we can do that or not, just store
But we
it.
have Optimus Field, I mean, we have Young Man's Business Park, we have places that we can store it, right?
But can we?
That's what I'm asking.
I don't know.
I mean, we
But can
have
we find
land,
out?
we have land we can take it to store these until,
Make that contingent on the next, on the next RFP, like, we'll help with the first cleanup. You'll start from scratch,
Yeah.
fresh. But you gotta take all the stuff first. But it'll all be picked up in a nice pile.
yeah. Like, I just didn't, I mean, we have the equipment, we have the manpower.
Yeah. I don't
So
know.
I feel like if we can, the city needs to go out, help pick up, we dump it either at Optimist or Young Man's Business Park until.
We probably ought to ask Scott if the equipment is still
Yeah, I would just like.
good to
see
go.
some kind of-
Scott, do you know the rules on the dumping site for leaves?
Basically, they only allow you to have so much cubic yards on your tank.
Like at any, if you're, I'm sorry, if you're a municipality, you're only allowed to hold so much
Anybody.
debris.
Any dump
Yeah,
site.
anybody, even a business.
Oh, okay.
Unless you have an actual designated site that's.
Landfill.
qualified for EQ. But,
So we're,
your hands are tied. They control it.
how did it go with with Tony checking out the vacuums and stuff, they're all right, they're good, nothing required?
My stuff is ready to go, other than you got the grappler truck.
The what?
I
The
said, other
grappler
than
is
the grappler truck.
down right now.
Grappler truck's in Little Rock right now.
The
The
brand
new one?
Yes.
What's wrong with it?
It's under warranty.
It's warranty work, transmission,
Oh, great.
engine, eventually wiring harness, so chassis and transmission.
When do you expect it back?
Hopefully next week.
Like we got it like 2 months. Well, we have a leaf vac.
Have two,
2 leaf vacs.
right, we have two?
And the leaf vacs, they minimize what we're picking up.
So I guess what we need to do is just figure out what the legal limit is for how much we can hold and pick it up.
Now, is that legal limit per site, like sanitation department, and then separate options park, or is that all together?
Any site you put it on.
So it sounds like
So it
it's
could be
per
separate.
Per,
location.
per site?
Yes, I can only put, let's say, 500 cubic yards on there. Our place, we'd be able to put 500
Okay.
cubic yards, you know, whatever place.
So it's
you're-
per site?
Okay, we need to find that out, confirm that. I trust you, but we need to, if we're gonna do it, we need to do it right and confirm the yardage.
So what's the update on the what was it, HB, from
Oh.
the state for the burning and stuff? Heard anything
Oh,
about
the
that?
the legislative bill?
legislation that
Oh, no,
cities could
I haven't heard
burn.
anything else.
I think the legislative session's still going on.
It is.
We won't know probably for a few months, I wouldn't think.
And they still may not even pass it. I mean.
And
Well,
it-
if they pass it, they won't implement it right away. They'll have to
Right.
do guidelines and rules, it'll take.
And if they don't
year.
put the emergency clause on it, then
Right.
it will be, yeah. So,
Okay, any more discussion on that?
no, but I do think we should look at the city helping and picking up, just to,
I would think
this
that
way
that
on
would
the
also
next
help the
RFP, this person starts clean and fresh and.
I would think that that would help with the bidding numbers for the RFP if they don't, if whoever decides to bid the next time is like, we have a year's worth of stuff to pick up. It's probably gonna be different price. I know I would charge a different price than starting out.
Whether or not they went through and did their homework or not.
That's irrespective of where we are right now.
Exactly. So, but we know that those numbers that we gave them were numbers that we were using, that we based everything we did off of.
I thought it was they had to get their own scope of work on.
Well, they did,
They
but
did,
but
yeah,
I'm
that
just
was
saying
part
And
that,
it's also
that we
mulched.
knew that based off the equipment that we had done.
But the other thing we have to factor in too is that we're also limbs and leaves, not total landscaping, take everything away as
Yeah.
well.
And full trees.
Right, I mean, it's limbs and leaves, it's gotta be a sustainable program regardless, because even the path we were on is unsustainable. People are ripping out their entire landscaping in their house and throwing it out at the road and we pick it up, which is a great service to provide, but it's also unsustainable.
Yeah.
And so there needs to be some realistic guidelines that the residents can live with and the new people can live with, so that everyone is okay.
I think we should, just my thoughts, I think we should find out how much we can get away with storing and do it. And I don't know how much manpower Scott can put toward it, but I don't see any sense in holding up anymore. We gotta get something going.
Yes.
This is ridiculous.
Now, are we gonna start that on the 28th, once that 30 days is over?
I
or we wanna have that-
don't think we can do anything until they're 30
Until
days.
after the
Right.
30
Yeah,
days.
Until after the.
No,
Which is another
right.
week and a half.
Okay,
That will give,
essentially.
that will give Scott and I some time to do some digging on if we can even dump it out there and how much, if we can.
And the grapple truck will get, hopefully,
By
Will be
then.
back in
repaired.
action, right.
Right, okay.
Let's
Okay.
just have some action.
Yes.
We thought we were getting action.
Okay,
That's where your drinking water comes from.
Not gonna burn.
okay, y'all good to move on?
Yep.
Great, got a plan. Okay, next up, we have the water department audit.
There's a sick man.
Paul, do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
No, but my auditor's not here tonight, but if y'all have any questions about it, I'd be happy to answer that, or if y'all have any other questions you'd like to ask me, I'm here, so.
How are we doing?
How are we doing where?
Everywhere.
We're doing great,
We have any
actually.
problems, I guess?
Yeah, we're actually doing really, really well. Our water utility is one of the finest in the state financially and operational wise. We are fixing to have some improvements that are heading up, coming up. As you guys remember or may recall, we did have a 2019 bond issue of $15 million that we did a rate increase for. That was to cover a major wastewater treatment plant upgrade, also a water treatment plant upgrade, and also a, well, actually did that, also a 30-inch sewer main, our main line that leads goes to the wastewater treatment plant, and it also included the water projects that you see at the office where we had the tank and the pump station, as well as the new tank out the bypass. So where we're at on those is the water plant is getting another 2 micro skids, also known as membranes, and that is pretty much we're the only one in Arkansas that has a Paul filtration unit like this. Other places around here do have membrane. There's actually only one other plant in the state that has membrane technology. Theirs has not worked very effectively. Ours has been, I better knock on wood here, it's been great ever since we got it. We are looking at doing it's going to cost about $3 million project to add those 2 micro skids. However, when we get done with that, we'll be saving thousands of dollars, not only in operations and maintenance costs, but also in chemical costs alone. One of the chemicals that we use is caustic soda and also aluminum sulfate when we begin the treatment process of our water. When we get rid of the old treatment plant, we will be able to decommission it, and when we do, we will be able to forego a lot of expense on that. We also have a lot of operations and maintenance that has to be done on the plant. The plant that we're going to be replacing basically is from 1973. It's done a great job. We've got dedicated operators that have learned this plant. Generally, though, when something breaks, it has to be made. They do not make anything of it anymore. Most of it's obsolete. Luckily, we have a telemetry guy that's about 75 years old who retired from everybody else but us, so he still services our ancient plant. This plant, if you ever go by the school, that's the one that has the big concrete box out there. Okay. One of the things we are going to do after this is decommissioned is that concrete box will be emptied of all the water in it. That is a sedimentation basin. We do not have any plans currently of tearing it down immediately. However, it will be decommissioned. So therefore, you can paint it.
I was going to say, I have a plan for it.
Yes, Allie has she has a plan for my wall. So we won't let her do it yet because there's water in there and you don't want seepage. You don't want to have potential of getting paint in your city water supply. So, but once that's done, we'll let you know, definitely. But that's going to be our next project. It's actually going for bids right now. We hope to have the bids in by early April. And then after that, we'll be commencing on construction. It's going to be, you're not going to see much about it, to be honest with you. You guys in public won't, because it's all going to be inside of our main treatment complex. So you're welcome to come by the way. Anybody wants to come for I always offer this. Nobody ever takes me up on it. But anybody wants to come up for a tour, you're more than welcome to. I'll be happy to take you through one. Or if you don't want to listen to me and have a shorter one, I can get one of my staff to do it. The wastewater treatment plant, that is our biggie. We got very fortunate this year. So the wastewater treatment plant, we've had to go under a major redesign. We were looking at increasing our flow capabilities through the plant. Right now, we can only treat 1.75 million gallons of wastewater a day. If you guys read my report, you'll see that we do millions of gallons of wastewater a month. But we treat 1.75, and when we have a 5-inch rain like we did the other day, our lagoons fill up pretty quick. We do have a lagoon system, is what we have currently. It is an operator's dream. Actually, it's also the most natural way of treating wastewater, so it's very effective. However, they're limited on how many gallons you can put through it in a day. So we're talking with our engineers right now. We had to. Original plan came out to $10.2 million was the lowest. We actually approximated about $6.8 million. Well, that was in 2019 when we got the bond. We estimated $6.8 million. Of course, COVID hit. After COVID hit, when we got our first bid in, the lowest was 10.2. So that was a no-go for us. And so we've been redesigning what we can and going for value engineering, doing the best we can. This plant's going to last us at least 25 years. So we're going to make sure we do it right when we do it. It will be able to treat up to 4 million gallons a day, up to almost 5, is what we're shooting for. It's going to take a little longer to get all this done. We're about in this plant. It's about parts and stuff's about a 1-year lead time. So it's going to be a little while. Now, here's the other issue that happened that we got fortunate on was, as I said earlier, so all the bond money that we have for $15 million in 2019, we have 8 left. Well, a little under 8 now, but we have 8 left. That includes all the water projects, the big main sewer line going out of town. So we have 8 left to do, the water plant and the wastewater plant. As I stated earlier, the water plant's going to be $3 million roughly, and the wastewater plant, obviously, we said it was looking about 10. Well, we're trying to get that back down. We're shooting for a budget of around, I think it was, I'd like to keep it 8.5 to be honest with you. But the good news is we did receive the maximum you can receive on our ARPA funding. So we got grant money from that. We got $5 million to go toward the wastewater plant. It was a shovel-ready project. We got everything ready to go. We even got approval from the health department to go ahead and commence everything we need to do. So we do have $5 million. So now that's gonna take care of us. We were actually looking at the potential of coming back before you guys and getting another bond issuance. I will tell you this: we do have enough. Our financials, as far as the rates that we have that we have in place, were good enough that we could actually get a bond issue of probably around $7 to $10 million again if we want to take out a bond without doing a rate increase. We do not like to do bond issues if we can help it, and so this $5 million that came from the ARPA fund will allow us to get both these projects done without having to do any kind of bond issue. All right, and again, that was rates were not even included in that. We're not looking at any rate increases as far as Heber Springs for some time. We're doing really well. We had a really good year this year, so that's not going to be a big factor on that.
Are the ARPA funds time loaded, or is there like a end
yes?
date
There's
you
a
gotta
whole bunch
start?
of stuff. There's a whole bunch of dates that we have deadline wise.
Are we gonna
In
make
fact,
them?
we have to have our at the end of the year this year, we had to have pretty much a notice to proceed for our contractor, and we are doing the CMAR process, so we're going to have a contractor all ready to go. So yes, but we're going to be starting hopefully before that, but by the end of the year we'll definitely be on the road to starting the actual project.
So we won't lose that funding?
No.
Okay.
No,
So
sir,
that
we got-
CWB and Hawkins Weir are almost to the
Hawkins
end?
Weir, yes, sir. CWB
Hawkins Weir.
is mostly out of it now. It's turned over mainly to Hawkins Weir. They are very, very good. Hawkins Weir has a really great relationship with ADQ on the wastewater treatment side, and so we've gotten to use that relationship with them to help us push this along and get everything going. And so we should be getting that started. We have no fear of losing the money. I will tell you guys, just so y'all know of other areas too, we were very fortunate on this money because the ARPA funds, there was over $1.6 billion that water and wastewater utilities have said we needed funding for. They only had like 500 or 600 million, and so luckily there's a lot of cities that threw basically you throw mud at the wall and see what sticks. We did 3 projects, we got 1. $5 million is the max you can get for all of them combined. Luckily we got it all on 1, but we did throw out 3 or 4 projects there. But other cities have, and most of your big cities did not get any funding. Tumblin Shoals Water, they got funding for a meter project. They're going to get auto read meters such as like what we have now. And then also Wilburn Water has gotten funding. Again, this is making sure that as long as they do their part, right, they got awarded the funding. Now they have to do their part, but they're going to hopefully be hooking on to Heber Springs. What that entails basically is we are not taking over their system. What that means is that we're going to put a master meter at basically right across the street from Hayes Road on 110 East. And we put a master meter there. Anything on their side of the master meter is theirs, and then we just sell them water like we do Tumblin Shoals and Mountaintop. And so that'll add some. That'll actually be good for us. There's not going to be a whole lot of money for us, to be honest with you, because they only have about 400 customers. But it's going to be great for them for having nice, clean water because their well is kind of getting in rough shape. And then also it'll help us because we actually have a tank out that way that it'll help stir it better, keeping it stirred. So, but you will see in the next probably several months, probably let's see, I can do it anytime, probably summertime, maybe early fall, you will see this tank out by the airport. That one is going to be getting repainted as well as refurbished. The Arkansas Department of Health won't let you just paint a tank anymore. You can't go out there. Is that my sign? I can get the subtle cues. People start yawning, you know, and then when they're going, so I get it. But if y'all got any questions, I'll be happy to answer anything specific. And I'd love for y'all to come visit. I'll show you where the water comes in, and then I'll show you where the poo goes out, and where you can see where Payne gets their drinking water.
Thank you, Paul.
Is that gonna be in the minutes?
Okay, so we just need a motion to accept the water department audit.
I make a motion that we accept the water department audit.
Second.
Any discussion?
Disgusting.
Okay, Ms. Vicki, whenever you're ready.
Okay, Jim Lay,
Jim? Lay?
Vote.
Do you
Yes.
accept the?
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
J.P. Hodges.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you, Paul. Next, we have a tax back resolution for MEC. Anyone like to volunteer to read the resolution? We only get to do it one time.
I'll do it. If I can find it.
Would you like my paper copy?
Sure.
I've got one here, let me find it.
Do we have a resolution number?
Once passed, it will be
Not till
2023-02.
02. All right, here we go. Resolution 2023-02. Resolution of the City Council of Heber Springs certifying local government endorsement of Defiance Metal Products, DBA of Defiance Metal Products of Arkansas Incorporated, to participate in the tax back program as authorized by Section 15-4-2706D of the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003. Whereas in order to be considered for the participation in the tax back program, the local government must endorse a business to participate in the tax back program, and whereas the local government must authorize the refund of local sales and use taxes as provided in the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003, and whereas said endorsement must be made in specific form available from the Arkansas Economic Development Commission, and whereas Defiance Metal Products doing business as Defiance Metal Products of Arkansas Incorporated, located at 944 Bypass Road, Heber Springs, Arkansas, has sought to participate in the program, and more specifically has requested benefits accruing from construction of the specific facility, and whereas Defiance Metal Products doing business as Defiance Metal Products of Arkansas Incorporated has agreed to furnish the local government all necessary information for compliance. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Heber Springs, Arkansas that, 1, Defiance Metal Products, DBA, Defiance Metal Products of Arkansas Incorporated, be endorsed by the City Council of Heber Springs for benefits from the sales and use tax refunds as provided by Section 15-4-2706D of the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003. 2, the Department of Finance Administration is authorized to refund local sales and use taxes to Defiance Metal Products, DBA, Defiance Metal Products of Arkansas Incorporated. And 3, the resolution shall take effect immediately.
Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
Motion to accept resolution.
Thank you, Ally.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Vicki, when you're ready.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund.
Yes.
Motion carried. Next, we have a request for a closing or abandonment of part of North 4th Street. Mr. McPherson, are you in the audience? All right, will you come up and explain this situation for us?
Good evening.
Hey, Jack.
For
Welcome.
those of you that don't know me, my name is Jackie McPherson. I'm a realtor with McKinsey Realty Group here in Heber Springs, and I'm here to propose to you the potential of abandoning a portion of 4th Street between Moore and North. And the reason I bring it to you is because, again, I'm a realtor and I put a house in contract that's on North Street. And during the process of the contract, we did a survey and we found out that the city had the street. The owner didn't even know the street was there. It's about literally 10 foot off the edge of the house. It's a 60-foot right-of-way or 60-foot easement, or not an easement, but the city owns it. The road has already been closed between North and Front Street, which would be the next block north. It had been closed sometime in the past. The house was built in 1941. I assume that the street was probably there before the house was built, but we probably didn't have code enforcement at that time because that house would never been allowed to be built that close to a street right away. And the buyer is wanting to back out if we can't get that abandoned. The owner, I encouraged them to come and speak to you. They were scared to do that, so just doing my due diligence. This isn't a $500,000 sale, guys. It's a $100,000 sale. I don't care if it passes or not, but when I look at it, it makes sense. We've done these in the past. Some we abandoned, others we did not. It depended on what the need was for that street. I've talked with Paul at the water department. They don't have any utilities in there, although we're willing to, if you do abandon, and we're not asking for you to abandon the entire block, just the length of his property to the east side. And again, there's no utilities in that portion, but we're willing to, in the description of that, to put an easement in it forever for utilities in case there were ever a need. Because you never know, 50 years from now, there might be some need to do something in that area. I don't think the need will ever be there for a road to be built. It would be extremely costly because the ground does not lay well at all. And again, it wouldn't go anywhere because the road has already been abandoned from north to front. And that would be the only reason you would want to continue is to get to Front Street, and that's not going to be possible. But just appreciate your consideration on possibly abandoning this, and if you got any questions, I'll try to answer them for you.
Did you say 4th and North?
Yes, it's 4th Street that runs north and south, where it hits Moore, from Moore to north. Matter of fact, if you look, that was the banker's house there on Moore. He's got a fence there over that city, you know, and the driveway for this house that I'm talking about is setting in the street right away. It's never been an issue because no one ever really knew that it was a city street. I don't even know if the city knew it, you know, really, because it's never been an issue. You've never needed it. And he's got a building, a portable building sitting on it. And again, it's his driveway. It would cut his driveway completely off.
This is Decker?
I'm sorry?
Deckers that used to have that, or?
You know, I'm not sure. Jan Shear owns it now. Shear Trucking out in Hopewell, she owns the home. And I'm not sure, Lane, who that, you know, I grew up a block from there. So
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you know the area well, but I'm not sure who owned it before then. But again, the house has been there since 1941, and it's, you know, it's not going to harm the home if you don't close it, unless you won't let them use their driveway anymore. But it will hurt for anyone to ever be able to sell it because someone wanting to buy, that fear of being, you know, losing their driveway and having the road, you know, if a road was ever built, it would be right on top of their house. So it would be, most people would steer away from it.
And that's the east side of it that you're
Yes.
talking about?
Any other questions?
And this would connect to the already abandoned part?
Yeah, from North Street going north to
Right.
Front, that's already been abandoned.
Right, and this would connect to that.
Yes, it would if that still
None
existed.
of our drainage stuff is working through any of that area or anything, huh?
Well, actually, just across from your house is a big drainage.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're further up the hill. There's really no drainage there. Anything else? Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does planning and zoning have to get involved with any of that, or does?
Doug, will this have to go to planning and zoning, or has it already been there?
It has not been planning and zoning. It would
Is-
not affect, it would not go through planning and zoning. We'd probably need to do a public hearing on it. There would have to be an ordinance written, abandoning that portion of it. Legal descriptions would have to be made for all properties that abut it, both sides. And then the easement, they want to put the easement in it, that can be in the description itself.
So Jackie, that would have to go through a 3-month process. Does that interfere
No,
with
I understand,
anything?
and to Doug's point, the owner said they would pay for those costs too.
There would not be a 3-month.
That's just if you're changing the.
That's
We're not changing the zone, closing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
we're
has
just-
it has to come back, it
Initial
has to be
one-time.
closed by ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'd need a legal description of the portion of the road that's being closed.
Yes, the ordinance would have to have the legal description, the portion being closed, and then the properties on both sides, their deeds would have to be amended, legal description wise, would have to be resurveyed, but their legal descriptions would have to be updated to reflect, the street closing, because each party on both sides would receive 30 feet if it's a 60-foot street right away. And then the easements, that portion of it will have an easement drawn up in it, which will be what we're actually abandoning. And then we'll have a deed for the easement.
Have you already looked at it?
We talked about it, yes.
So we know it is the 60 feet?
I've not gone back and done the research on it. I know where it's at, and I know what the computer says, but I don't put a lot of faith in the numbers for the lot lines.
And the owners are willing to accept the fees for doing so?
Correct.
I'm all right with it.
Okay. Guess I just need your blessing to move forward to get it taken care of.
Do you need a motion or anything, or are you good?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It
If we want
sounds
to
like-
have this by the next meeting, may I make the suggestion that y'all set a public hearing date to this, if y'all want it for the next council meeting, or if y'all want it bumped another one, and it's also going to depend on how fast we can get a legal description done on it.
We can do the public hearing before our council meeting.
Yeah.
Correct. That normally, when council does public hearings, it is before the regular meeting.
Okay, so if we can get all the information together from their attorney and all of that, then we can do that.
Correct. We'll
Okay.
just we'll have to publish it, and then,
Ordinance and legal descriptions.
correct.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. Go ahead and do that.
But he mowed my yard for me.
Yeah, we got all this paperwork. Who knows
Do
what
we,
that's gonna
do we
be.
have to,
Okay.
do we have to, like, make a motion or anything to set up the public meeting? Okay,
We're good.
just do it, okay?
Just do it. Okay, next, the police department is requesting to apply for a 2023 cops hiring program. Is Chief still here? Oh, great. No, this is different. This is different.
These grant opportunities don't come along very often for us. Y'all asked in the past for long-term plans, and I have been working for one of these since I became chief. I think the last one hired under this was Keith Douglas, if that tells you anything.
Been a minute.
So that goes back about 25 years or so. Because of the size of the department primarily. They are good opportunities. They're 75-25. If we get waiver, we've got the opportunity to have an officer getting trained up, to get paid for by the federal government. So, it's one of those opportunities that comes along every so often. And I'm just advising you, we can take advantage of that if y'all want to proceed further with it. I'm not saying we're gonna get it, just saying, if you want us to try or not.
So
And then after
if
3
we
years.
go over, sorry.
After 3 years, we hire that officer.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the thing. It pays for their salary for 3 years. 75% of it, we pay 25% of it.
Unless there's waiver.
Okay.
So is it for regular hiring, or are you,
It would be a new position, yes.
so it would be an expansion, like a,
Yes.
okay.
Are there stipulations where you have to spend this, that, and that somewhere?
No, it's strictly for the salary for that officer.
Okay.
Then are we gonna have to get on the car? I'm just
Yep.
kidding.
You want a good one, you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Killing me, man.
It's the
Well-
world we live in now.
And explain the process, like, after that 3 years, we can hire them full-time, or we can keep them on.
You're just taking over the payment on the salary from that point on. You've got up to 5 years to fill it because, you know, they give you a hiring process within there that, you know, it could take some time, you know, especially now. It's getting harder and harder.
What's the
So-
time? I'm sorry.
But the cost is not just the 25%. I was joking, but I was being serious, because you are thinking about a new car, you are
Oh,
thinking
there's
about
huge expense
outfitting
in it.
them, I mean,
Overall.
yeah. So it's not just, you know.
How are we for staffing? Are we,
I'm sorry.
how are we staff-wise?
Staff-wise?
Do we have a need for it, for another?
Yes.
Police
I mean, we're holding our own. I have told this council before, I'm not gonna ask for more people, but our reports are up. We're out of COVID now in a serious way. Everybody can see the traffic in town now. Arrests are up, and the school is getting hammered, school resource officers. I would like, if y'all want to proceed forward with this, I might get the school involved in sharing some expense of this and sharing that officer. They take them for 9 months, we get them for those 3 months in the summer. That's kind of what makes sense to me. But, you know.
Seems to me that'd make a lot of sense. Summer during the busy months, it'd be on the
Dr.
streets.
Ashley, I've spoken with him some on this, so, you know, we can have further conversation on that.
Now, who are 2 officers we have at school now?
We have one in the academy right now, it's Officer Tuggle.
Yes,
He is graduated next month, so.
4 more weeks.
But we have 2, Wildman and
So,
Hills.
so is Sarah
Yeah,
started
Wild
already?
is retiring
Yeah.
in July.
Yeah.
And we already have a hiring list. Sarah will come on in
June?
July.
July.
After parts cleared out of the system. So. It's up to y'all.
Now, does Sarah have to go do any training to coming over from county?
She has already got her SRO level 1. We will try to get her into some more classes. They have some stuff they have to do through the summer as far as mandatory training. We'll try to get her into those this year.
You know,
She's gonna learn a lot under Jeff.
I would think especially if we can do cost sharing with the school, if they're amenable to that, that would cover us with an additional officer during our busy season.
So would that be a 3rd officer then at the school?
Possibly.
That's what I'm
There are 3 buildings.
hoping for.
They've
Yeah.
been paying hard.
Then you have 1 in each building, right?
So Chief, when is the 2023 CHP, what's our time frame on when you have to apply for that and all that?
It is, you had to ask that. I believe it's, we've got a few months, so. When we get on it, we can go ahead and get the application process done. Sergeant Gracie will get the application process done.
He's very good at those.
He's my grant guy.
Would we need a motion, or what do we need on this?
Yeah, we typically take a vote for the grant, just to get it blessed to move forward with it.
Well, I mean, I think we're busy enough to probably warrant it, and we want to keep the city to a certain standard of safety. Then
It's definitely worth applying for.
I'll make the motion to apply.
Thank you.
A second.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Vicki?
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Allie Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
JP Hodges. Louis Short.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Hey, Brian, I would like to say just thank you to your guys for the work they did at the school when there was a bomb threat or what they thought was a bomb threat, and I thought that was very professional and just a great job that they did, so.
Yes, ma'am, I will be giving a unit citation to our criminal investigators for getting that resolved for us as well. It sends a message when we stay after it and have some charges come out of those, even if it isn't juvenile. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, next, I would like to apply for this RDOT TAP grant. For sidewalks, it will extend our bond money a lot further. It will help us with the Weddingford project as well, and just make our bond dollars go that much further.
Is it 100%?
I think it's 80-20.
I don't remember reading, yeah.
I think the last one was
20,
80-20.
it says a minimum of 20% local match will be required from the sponsor. If I'm reading that correctly.
But again, we have sidewalk bond money that we can use.
Towards the 20%?
Yeah, and this will make those dollars stretch.
Didn't we have a sidewalk project from years ago? Did that finally get done? Are we done with that?
No,
That was-
Weddingford,
No.
that was before I was on city council.
Okay.
And
So we still have-
We
Whatever.
were going around the school.
Yeah.
Sidewalks around the school.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah,
Do we have any kind of budgetary number of how much to be, or are we just
it's in
applying to?
process.
Are we
It's in-
are we just making a motion to apply for it? Do we have
Yes,
any
sir.
idea what dollar amount it would be at all, or anything like that right now?
We'll Nick, do we have a goal number for the TAP grant?
Yeah, I think here's the gist of it. Again, there was money budgeted from the bond for sidewalk project. Specifically, that was for the Weddingford project that currently has a grant that supports it. And so that grant is for, I believe, the RDOT component is 130-something thousand, 131,000. So I'm not sure exactly what the estimate is for the project, but either way, there's going to be some bond proceeds left over. And so when that bids and there's a hard number there, then I would say it's safe to go ahead and budget the grant for whatever your proceeds are, if that makes sense. So no extra dollars coming out of it, just utilize the bond funds to maximize that. So set it there, and then probably use that to go downtown towards sidewalks again to enhance that project as well.
Okay.
So that's the general idea. There's not an actual scope identified yet. We've got until June to submit that, so assuming.
Do we want to get a better scope, or do we want to get a better number of that, or do we just want to go forward and try to apply? I mean, we have to have a number we're applying for, right?
No, we have to have all the specifics to apply. I guess what I'm assuming is that the Weddingford project will bid before that time.
Do we have any idea when the Weddingford project's gonna bid?
No, but I would assume that it's going to double.
Well, didn't we approve that plan like over a year ago?
Yes, there was a redesign.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The redesign,
The redesign,
we approved over a year ago.
yes.
Why hasn't it happened?
I don't know.
Can we-
I'm waiting on Clint.
Are there things within the contract, and I'm not trying to badmouth, but are there things within the contract that if no action has been taken, that we pull that?
Well, we still have to move forward with the grant.
Yeah, we're talking about whoever is supposed to be working on it and not getting it done. Is there,
How do we
maybe you
hold-
would know.
How do we hold them accountable?
Whoever has that job, how do we, if it's not going anywhere, can we pull out?
You can terminate a contract anytime. Am I wrong?
No. On that one, I don't know where I don't know where it is in process. I mean, that's what you have
Neither
to
do we.
evaluate whether it's
Yes.
sensible or not.
I'd like that
But,
on next month's agenda.
Yes.
But I guess what I'm saying is, if that project bids in between, or if we have an estimate, we want to create a scope of work commensurate with
Right.
what we have.
Right.
And so before we go out there, just scoping things, then it doesn't make any sense until we know that number.
So you
But
need
we've got-
something
what I'm
pretty
saying is,
quickly.
yeah, we've got a couple of months here. Do what?
You need something pretty quickly in terms of how far is that going to
Sometime
go
in
so
the
we can
next,
fill it in.
yeah, sometime in the next couple of months, because what we have to prepare for the grant is obviously, scope of work. We have to do, basically kind of a map or, some sort of detail exactly outlining a narrative description and then set a budget for that. And then typically, once you apply in June, then those are typically awarded in September or so. So we're really not, the risk is you lose a couple of months moving forward on whatever the proceeds are. But again, not knowing exactly what the new estimate is, the proceeds probably won't be a whole lot. So it's just a way to stretch that. So that's all it is. And you're not applying for anything tonight. You wouldn't agree to support that until right prior to the application being submitted.
So the way I see it is we need updates from Clint and a start date and an end date so that we can get this moving, or we'll have to pull the project.
Well, I know that he needs to put it out for bid,
Do we know why it doubled?
because this grant's from 2015.
In November, he told us in that, what I sent out today, that he was gonna bid it in January. That's
Yeah.
what it said in there.
The drainage project was supposed to be bid out as well.
So,
Okay, so we want an update on the water, the drainage, and the Weddingford project. He needs to either have bids for us, or we need to
Need
give it to
action.
someone who will.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm asking for permission to apply for this grant,
Th-
for this
So
TAP
moved.
grant. Do you want to wait till we have more
We don't have any
details?
specifics.
Gotta have a
yes.
scope before we can.
Gotta have a scope, so.
I'm for grant.
So I think in order to provide this, we need to get that information done by
Okay.
next month at the latest and get
Can do.
a bid.
Or-
All for doing it, but we got what
Like-
we're applying for.
I had asked if he could send us out an email even, and just whatever, give us an update on all of his bond projects and send that out in an email to us. At least we, so
I
we
would
know
love to
something's
see
getting
updates
done.
at every public meeting. I would love to see bond, even if we haven't done anything.
All the bond updates?
I think,
Yeah.
Every meeting?
yes, I think and I mentioned that months ago, because, people that are coming here, so that when our constituents call, we don't have to call every time and get constant updates. We can give our most latest update. It would just be so helpful.
I also, I lost it. Never mind. Gee, this is what you get for making me wait a minute.
Gosh, okay.
It's already gone. I'm sorry.
Squirrel, you're fine.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'll table it, and I'll put it on next month. Okay, next, we have ordinances for doing business with. The first one is for Red River Radio. Anyone like to volunteer to read it? It's probably the shortest ordinance ever.
I'll read it.
Thank you.
What's the number for this one, Ms. Vicki?
This one will be, if passed, will be 2023-06,
Which one is this one? Red River Radio?
Red River Radio.
Do you have a hard copy?
She sent it out today.
Let's make sure you get the notes.
Okay.
Yeah, there was,
I got one somewhere.
there's a small change.
Oh, Doug, I remember. Can I cut into this for a second? Did we ever hear back from Arby's on the head wall?
Oh,
Okay. All right, ordinance 2023-06. An ordinance authorizing the city of Heber Springs to conduct business with Red River Radio, prescribing the extent of said authority and for other purposes. Be it ordained by the City Council of Heber Springs, Arkansas as follows. Section 1, Red River Radio Incorporated is a business in which Councilmember Hallie King Sugg holds an executive or managerial office and ownership interest. Section 2, in accordance with the Arkansas Code annotated Section 14-42-107B1, the City Council hereby authorizes the mayor to contract with Red River Radio Incorporated despite any indirect benefit Councilmember Hallie King Sugg may derive from said business. Section 3, the authority granted herein to the mayor to conduct business with Red River Radio shall be limited in scope, time, and cost to the purchase of radio airtime related to advertising, promoting community events in the city of Heber Springs and to manage the city's website. Dated this 16th day of March, 2023.
you have to read all these.
Now, I noticed the previous ordinance had a limit of money, is that?
No,
Uh,
the 20,
2 years ago there was, but the
Not
state
last
passed, state passed another law that you can't go over like
Yeah.
$10,999.
remember in 2021, we passed something saying it's like $9,999 or something. So,
So do we have to do second and third readings, or is this just adopted by?
Three times. It's an ordinance.
It's by title only.
Yeah.
Make a motion that we, read it again by title only?
Well,
We gotta do something else?
We have to vote first, right?
Okay.
No,
Well,
we got
no.
a
Oh,
motion.
We
okay.
just read it
You're
the
right,
first
you're right,
time.
you're right.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we, read this by title only.
For the second time.
Suspend the rules. and read
Suspend the
by
rules
title.
and read it by title only.
I found it.
I'll second that.
Is this, this is revised.
That's the old one. No, it isn't.
Miss Vicki?
J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
abstain?
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Motion carried. An ordinance authorizing the city of Heber Springs to conduct a business with Red River Radio Incorporated, prescribing the extent of said authority and for other purposes.
I move we suspend the rules and
Okay.
place on third reading by title only.
I'll second that.
Okay. Miss Vicki, when you're ready?
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
J.P. Hodges.
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Abstain.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Motion carried. An ordinance authorizing the city of Heber Springs to conduct business with Red River Radio Incorporated, prescribing the extent of said authority and for other purposes.
I move we adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Vicki, when you're ready?
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
J.P. Hodges.
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Ally Sugg.
Abstain?
Motion carried. Okay, next we have an ordinance with visual identity.
Want me to read my
Somebody needs
I'll
to
get
read
it.
it.
I'll get it. I was just finding it.
Wait a minute here.
Okay. All right, here we go. Ordinance number 2023-7. -07. An ordinance authorizing the city of Heber Springs to conduct business with Councilmember Lane Tubbs doing business as Visual Identity and WT's embroidery and screen printing, prescribing the extent of said authority and for other purposes. Be it ordained by the City Council of Heber Springs, Arkansas as follows. Section 1, Councilmember Lane Tubbs holds ownership interest in and operates 2 businesses within the city of Heber Springs that provide graphic design supplies and services which businesses operate under the names of Visual Identity and WT's embroidery and screen printing. Section 2, in accordance with Arkansas Code annotated Section 14-42-107B1 and subject to the requirements of Heber Springs Municipal Code Section 3.0.04.05, the City Council hereby authorizes the mayor to contract with Councilmember Lane Tubbs doing business as Visual Identity and WT's embroidery and screen printing despite any direct or indirect benefit Councilmember Lane Tubbs may derive from said business. Section 3, the authority granted herein to the mayor to conduct business with Councilmember Lane Tubbs doing business as Visual Identity and WT's embroidery and screen printing shall be limited in scope, time, and cost to the purchase of graphic design signs, screen printing, decals, and related products and supplies. Dated this 16th day of March 2023.
Move we place it on
Thank you,
second,
Jim.
suspend the rules and place it on second reading by title only.
Second.
Got to vote, right?
Yes. Ms. Vicki?
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Abstain.
J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the city of Heber Springs to conduct business with Councilmember Lane Tubbs doing business as Visual Identity and WT's embroidery and screen printing, prescribing to the extent of said authority and for other purposes.
Move we suspend the rules and place on third and final reading by title only.
Second.
Vicky?
Louis Short,
Yes.
J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Allie Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Abstain.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Motion
An
carried.
ordinance authorizing the city of Heber Springs to conduct business with Councilmember Lane Tubbs doing business as Visual Identity and WT's embroidery and screen printing, prescribing the extent of said authority and for other purposes.
Move we adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Vicky?
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Abstain.
Allie Sugg,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Stephen.
Next, we have, doing business with, well, no, it's the spouses.
Want me to go?
Go.
Ordinance 2023-08. An ordinance authorizing the city of Heber Springs Fire Department to employ the spouse of a member of the city council, prescribing the extent of said authority and for other purposes. Be it ordained by the city council of the city of Heber Springs, Arkansas as follows. Section 1. Stephen Choate, a part-time fireman of the Heber Springs Fire Department, is married to Councilmember Melissa Choate. Section 2. In accordance with Arkansas Code annotated Section 14-42-107B1, the city council hereby authorizes the Heber Springs Fire Department to employ Stephen Choate despite any direct or indirect benefit Councilmember Melissa Choate may derive from said employment. Section 3. The authority granted herein shall be limited in scope and the time to the continued part-time employment of Stephen Choate with the Heber Springs Fire Department during the term of office of Councilmember Melissa Choate. Dated the 16th day of March, 2023.
Make a motion, suspend the rules and have reading second time by title only.
Second.
Vicky?
Allie Sugg,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Abstain.
Motion carried.
Make a motion to,
Wait, we gotta read it.
I gotta read it.
okay, I'm sorry.
An ordinance authorizing the city of Heber Springs Fire Department to employ the spouse of a member of city council, prescribing the extent of said authority and for other purposes.
Make a motion, suspend the rules and read it by title only for the third reading.
Second.
Vicky?
Oh, that's it.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Allie Sugg,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Abstain.
Louis Short,
Yes.
J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Motion carried.
An ordinance authorizing the city of Heber Springs Fire Department to employ the spouse of a member of the city council, prescribing the extent of said authority and for other purposes.
Make a motion, we suspend the rules and adopt the ordinance. Is that
No,
correct?
just adopt it.
Just adopt it?
Got a motion, I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Vicky?
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Allie Sugg,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Abstain.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Motion carried. Next, another ordinance for Mr. Griffin and I.
Gotcha.
Thanks.
Ordinance 2023-09. An ordinance authorizing the city of Heber Springs Police Department to employ the spouse of the mayor, prescribing the extent of said authority and for other purposes, be it ordained by the city council of Heber Springs, Arkansas as follows. Section 1, Stephen Griffin, a full-time employee of Heber Springs Police Department, is married to Mayor Casey Griffin. Section 2, in accordance with Arkansas Code annotated Section 14-42-107B1, the city council hereby authorizes the Heber Springs Police Department to employ Stephen Griffin despite any direct or indirect benefit Mayor Casey Griffin may derive from said employment. Section 3, the authority granted herein shall be limited in scope and time to the continued full-time employment of Stephen Griffin with the Heber Springs Police Department approved the 16th day of March, 2023.
I move we suspend the rules and place on second reading by title only.
Second.
Vicky?
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Allie Sugg,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Ordinance 2023-09, ordinance authorizing the City of Heber Springs Police Department to employ the spouse mayor prescribing the extent of said authority for other purposes.
I move we suspend the rules and place on third and final reading by title only.
Second.
Vicky?
Louis Short,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Allie Sugg,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-09, ordinance authorizing the City of Heber Springs Police Department to employ the spouse of the mayor prescribing the extent of said authority and for other purposes.
I move we adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Any discussion? Vicky?
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Allie Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Motion carried. Next, we have a water commissioner to appoint Mr. Franklin Fall, and I believe you all have a letter from Mr. Burt Eddington in your packets. We just need a motion to appoint Mr. Franklin Fall to the Water Commission.
How many people are on the water commission?
3.
Three?
2 right now, there'll be a third.
And then there's Paul, and then Nikki, and myself.
Paul, Nikki. All right, I thought we talked about sometime back that we wanted one of our council members on there. Did we not?
We did, but does anyone have time? That was the discussion we had last time. And how many commissioners do we have to have?
So just to update everybody on how that works, in 1957, the city of Heber Springs formed the Water and Sewer Commission. It was formed with 3 people. It's been that way ever since. In 2000, I can't remember, it wasn't too long ago. But anyway, a few years ago, they did come out with a law that said if you have a water commission that is after 1964, they wanted everybody to have 5 commissioners. We do not fall under that. We actually had our commission before that was in line, so we had it since 1957. Our board meetings are open to anybody that wants to join them. I know Mr. Lay came several years there for a while. It's the last Thursday of the month at 9 a.m. So if you're more than welcome to come by
I
and
think our
visit.
thing was we have a council member on every commission we have. So, except for
Just
water.
about.
Sure.
So we were just, talking about, putting a council member on it. That way, it's
You
kind
have-
of a representative of
Sure.
the council that's on there.
Sure, and if we do have, so what we do typically, and this is no offense to anybody in this room at all, but the reason why a commission works so well is because there's no politics involved, and also they're not elected, so they're appointed. So for instance, John Latimer, who Franklin is supposed to be, replacing, he was on our board for over 30 years. So the good thing about that is they can grow into the business and learn it, we don't have to worry about, every 4 years somebody changing roles. And so that's why the commission is most of your cities that have water commissions have better water utilities. And that's because, no offense to Ms. Mayor, but you get different mayors, you get different council people, they have agendas and things like that. So that's why the commission is a good thing. So one of the things and that's one of the things that our commissioners do is they vet and they pick from themselves. And what that means is I don't have any, I can offer someone up or whatever, but they generally pick who they know, somebody they know, and then that comes to you guys to appoint. So what they do is they vet people that they think will be interested. And typically what we look for is someone that's either in a utility field, a contractor field such as Mr. Fall is. He does large industrial contracting. Also administrative fields such as banking and things like that. Bert obviously is an accountant, so he has kind of our financial, he's really good at our financial stuff. John Latimer he used to work for, he's the manager for First Electric for 100 years. And so he knew the electrical side of a utility. So that's what we tend to look for when they hire, when they appoint someone, is they want someone that has that kind of benefit. If y'all do decide to have Franklin as a commissioner, which again, he's not, no offense to anybody in here, but not politically motivated or anything like that. But if you do have him, then if you did decide to put one person on the board, then you'd have to get another person somewhere else, because then you'd have to have 5, because you don't want an even number, obviously, for tie stuff, okay? And so but that's pretty much how that goes, and that's what we've always had, and it's worked well. As a matter of fact, our finances, guys, I've said this before, this is one reason why I can tell you with full certainty that Heber Springs Water and Wastewater only cares about our water and wastewater infrastructure. We don't care about anything else. We don't. That's all. That's our job. That's our one job, is we provide potable, safe drinking water to the public, and we get rid of the wastewater. We are. A lot of people don't know this probably, but we're the first line of public health. We don't get a lot of credit for that, but we really are. One of the main things they told us during COVID was wash your hands. Well, my guys had to be on staff to make sure that water was coming to everybody, that they could wash their hands. As a matter of fact, during COVID, when we had some quarantine issues, I told my guys at my water plant and my wastewater plant that they were going to be quarantined there instead of at home. I said, if you get sick and you're the only one available, you're going to be working up there, because we can't do without them. This town cannot function. One of the first things that was ever invented was plumbing, and so you can't do without it. And we spend every dime that we have on water and wastewater infrastructure and what it takes to get it to you. And that's why we always want to make sure that whoever is, and that's one reason why our commissioners who have been here for years, they've learned the business and they truly care about water and wastewater only. And that's why they vet these people who they appoint. And so that's where we come from, and that's where it started, was in 1957. There is a law, Act 605, as a matter of fact. You've heard probably a lot about that, which, by the way, it's getting amended. They're amending it right now, as a matter of fact, in the state legislature. Act 605 does require us to have a non-voting committee. That is, basically, it's if you have 20% of your customer base that are outside of the incorporated city limits, then you have to have a non-voting committee. It does not specify how many people are on that committee. It just says you have to have some people that represent the citizens outside the city limits. As you may or may not know, we do service Eden Isle with water. We do receive their wastewater now. They pump it to us. They used to have a wastewater plant that was pretty bad, and so it went into a cove. You can see it on Google Earth even. But they since got rid of their wastewater plant. They installed a pump station, and it pumps about 33,000 feet into our sewer main. So we do treat their wastewater, but however, we do not maintain their sewer system. But we do sell them water. So we do have water customers that are outside the city limits as far as Eden Isle goes. We also go out to River Bend Road, Ferguson, and we go all the way to, as we talked about earlier, Hayes Road, Wildflower out in that area too. So we have several people, about more than 20%, that live outside the city limits of Heber Springs. And so we service quite a big area. There are a few sewer customers outside the city limits of Heber Springs. If you guys may recall, years ago, we actually had an ordinance that said we could not sell sewer to people outside of the city limits. Some of you guys were on the city council when they changed that. So now it is, we can sell city sewer services. I'm not selling sewer, so don't worry about that. But we can sell city sewer services to outside the city now. So that being said, I do have people who do have on our committee, such as Greg Holland, who's one of our commissioners. He has also, just so happens to be, he lives outside the city limits. And I also have a gentleman at Eden Isle that is on that committee. Again, that's the only two I have, because they didn't specify numbers. They just said you needed somebody. So that's where we have. And basically who does meet, as the mayor said, is we have Bert Eddington and currently Bert Eddington, Greg Holland, and the open spot, and then myself, I'm at the meetings, as well as Nikki, who is my CFO/office manager, and then the mayor comes to them as well.
So nobody on the city, like even the mayor, doesn't have a vote?
No. No, it's a three-person commission, and again, that's what I'm saying, is it's apolitical. We do not, and again, this is nothing toward any of y'all in here.
How is
but-
water and sewer gonna get political though?
Oh,
I
believe
guess-
me, can't,
I mean-
well, let's discuss money. Okay, so for instance, if we, and I'll tell you right now, our money, as I said, just goes to water and wastewater. We don't fund anything else. And so one of the things that happens is if we were in, we don't get any tax money, as you guys know, I hope. We don't get any tax money from anybody. All we get for way of finances is we get our water and sewer bills, is that's how we get paid. Then we also we take out a bond, which we pay with our water and sewer bills. And then the other way that we get money is every once in a while we'll get a grant. But when you pay your water and wastewater bill, you're not paying for the water. I've never charged anybody a dime for water, by the way. You don't pay for your water. You're paying for the services and all the stuff that it takes to get there. And shameless plug, y'all can look on Facebook and see what all that takes. But those rates, or that pay, that money that we get goes right back into our system. And yes, when I have pumps go out, I got a raw water pump that went out, and it cost me $240,000 right then and there. You know, and so one of the benefits of it is we have people that know and understand this is important stuff. This isn't like, well, let's put it off a month. We can't do that a lot. We have big jobs that we have to plan for and things like that, but we have severe emergencies. As earlier he was talking about VFD drive, I was kind of nodding my head. We have several variable speed drives. One of those goes out, it's $40,000. Okay, and I mean, it's like that. So we have to function, and that's why we have the money that we have, and that's why we don't need politics involved. And so water and sewer can get politics. For instance, well, there's a lot of it, actually, unfortunately. The same way of plumbing. People want, I'll tell you a great example. Some people may want water or wastewater services where there currently are not any right now. And our policies is that our policy, if you're wanting to develop some land, the Heber Springs Water and Wastewater Utility, we are not developers. Okay, we started this stuff. We had water flowing through the water pipes in 1914. I actually found an article. I thought it was 1918, but it was 1914. I found a newspaper article. We have been doing this since 1914. I have pipes in the ground that are from 1914, and they're on Main Street. And they're going to be right in the way of a storm sewer going in. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to upgrade them as the storm water goes through. We're going at our dime. We're going to update the water mains on Main Street while they're cutting it all open. But we have over 100 years of piping in the ground. Our sewer is from 1917. We got the bond in 1917 to lay a sewer main for the city of Heber Springs. Well, what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that there's a lot of old pipe in the ground, and every day my guys are changing out foot by foot of it. And that's where our money goes, and that's what we care about. And one of the things that the commissioners have done a great job of saying, listen, this is where your money goes, and they understand that we need, and I promise you, we're not, obviously, if we were spending a lot of money, more money than we're taking in, obviously, you guys would definitely know about it because you'd see it. But guys, we have an excellent system. We have excellent water quality. I can tell you right now, our water from the lake is the clearest that you're going to find. There's probably maybe one or two that are just as good. I can use it it's called turbidity, and the maximum we're ever supposed to get on any one time is a 1.0 on turbidity on our finished water, and our raw water comes in at 1.7 average, which means that we don't have to treat very much to get below 1.0. Some places like Lone Oak White, they have 200, 300 NTU on their turbidity. So we have very, very clean water. It has worked outstandingly well. It's financed well. We don't use the money for anything else. And the problem is if you get, some people may want, hey, I'm building this place over here, right? And they're like, can you run me a line? Well, let's, so we don't do that. We're not developers. And our policy is if it's good for the whole community, You'll never see my guys doing new stuff unless it's for the whole community. So what I mean by that is when we put in this water system of piping over there by my office, when we put in that tank, we put in that pump station, we put in that transmission main that was over 12,000 feet long, and we put in this tank over here. The reason why we spent all that money doing that, which was $7 million, the reason why we spent all that money doing that was because this area right here in town, every summer, Cumberland Shows was using so much water on their chicken houses, they were dropping our tank right out here and over there. They were dropping our tank so low that the owner of Sonic, his very first day when he opened up his new Sonic, couldn't flush his toilets because the water was so low on a summer day. So what we had to do, picture it like this. Our water plant's our heart. And I apologize for everybody here going so long. Our water plant's our heart. We sell currently to 2 wholesale systems. They're our legs. Mountaintop Water and Cumberland Shows Water pay about 50% of our revenue, and they also take about 50% of our water each day and each month. Now what was happening was our left leg, Cumberland Shows, was getting cut on their main artery. Every summer they were doing this. They still do it sometimes when we have like a freezing weather event. So the reason I'm telling you this though is what we did, and originally our water plant fed the whole body, okay, so all the veins and all that. Well, when that would break, when that artery would break, everything in the city, especially this part of town, would drain down, okay? So we spent $7 million to put in bypasses, one for Mountaintop, one for Cumberland Shows, so that if they break, it's not going to affect the citizens. The reason I'm telling you this is because that's what we spend our money on. If you see us putting in piping, most of what we do is rehab. Most of all the stuff that we do is rehab. Now we are putting in, obviously we're rehabbing a treatment plant, water and wastewater. Hopefully that'll last the next 25 years. But we don't, and I will tell you guys, we've had people not too far away that wanted me to run sewer mains where there were none for free. And it was for one developer, one person. Now that's not very right if everybody's paying a sewer bill. Y'all see what I'm saying?
Was it inside the city limits? Shouldn't it be our responsibility?
Well, one of them wasn't. One of them wasn't, and I've had a few that were. But we do not do that. So we have developers. So for instance, let's say that you buy 40 acres and you don't have sewer on there, but you want sewer, and you want to put your own, you want to spend the money to develop for your benefit. You're going to make all the money off of it, right? It's for your business, but you're wanting me to put it in there for free because there's not a sewer main there. I cannot do that. Okay, it's against our policy, our ordinance, and our laws. Now, if it's something where the city, for instance, says, "Hey, we want to develop this into, for instance, a ball field or something like that," then yes, that's the city of Heber Springs doing it, where everyone benefits. You'll see what I'm saying? And so that's where it can get political. And the more people you get involved, the more politics come to play. Just same way with delaying stuff. So for instance, if we have an emergency that needs to be handled, everybody's got to kind of be on the same page of seeing if it is truly emergency, how it's handled, and make sure it's handled promptly. Okay, so that's why it works so well, because in other cities that have yeah, I know, right? Okay, yeah. Other cities that have the mayor, for instance, they will get in there. I've seen this happen. You can look at the city equipment, no offense equipment, but the city equipment, for instance, had a mayor come in. She hired a water plant operator, very, very good guy. Well, he wasn't a water plant, but anyway, very good water guy. Had all his licenses, which, by the way, my guys are highly trained. And new mayor came in, guess what? You're fired. I want my buddy to get that job. No, not in equipment, but other places too. But it did happen in equipment that the new mayor came in, the guy left. He was afraid he was going to lose his job. And that's where you guys got to understand. Myself, I've been in this business at Heber Springs Water since 2003. I'm coming up on 20 years at Heber Springs Water. I've been there for 23 years. I've been a plumber since 1997. Most of my employees, I looked at them the other day. I have 4 people on my department out of 23, 4 people that have been there less than 5 years. We have very little turnaround. The only turnaround we have is when you're looking at field guys on the ditch hands. When they're standing this deep in poop, and that's not fun. When they're making $11 an hour, which I'm hoping to raise that, they're making $11 an hour and they're standing in poop, and they can literally go anywhere else and make more, or the same. So that's the reason why when I say politics, I mean what I mean by that is that the political wins. You know, you get a new mayor, you get a new city council, they can take that person away. You know, they can put in someone that they like better or something like that. And that's why a commission tends to work better, because you're not under the threat of every 4 years. You know, somebody different may show up and they may have their own agenda. And guys, there are people in other towns, mayors in other towns that say, no, you're not going to put in this water main, you're going to go do this. You're not going to do this, you're going to go do this. And we don't work that way. And I promise you, we'll treat everybody right. I never say fair. Fair is where everybody gets the trophy, right? Right is where we treat you right. And so that's what my goal is. Again, any of y'all are welcome to come take a tour of my place. I would love for you to, actually, because I love showing it off. It's very clean. Even the wastewater plant is very clean. But y'all should come by and look at it and see what we do.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
All right. Any other questions?
Heck no.
Hey, one thing about it, if they ever do get rid of me on the water, I'm going to come see about being on the radio.
I have to make it a 5-hour show.
By the way, something you may not know.
I make a motion, we appoint
The
Mr.
city
Franklin
council
Fall
is
to the CAP
nonpartisan.
committee
Right.
for the water department.
A lot of people don't know that, but we're
Commission.
nonpartisan,
Yes.
just like the water commission.
Right. And that's true. And I'm not talking parties. We are absolutely apolitical in that too. We do not, I don't.
Second.
Thank you.
You know that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Maybe I shouldn't ask. Vicki?
Ellie Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
J.P. Hodges.
Yes.
Louis Short.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Paul.
I apologize. Hey, I'm a water dork. I don't get out. I don't get to come here very often. Once a year.
Goodness.
Too much water's not
Well,
a good thing.
You made it worth it. Okay, next up, I had an add-on for a safety deposit box at First State Bank. The signers, the people to assess the safety deposit box to be Zeke Wilson, Chief Brian Hell, Stephen Griffin, and myself. But they have to have minutes and all, just like we do for opening a bank account. And this will store our hard drive backups and deeds and whatever else we need to store in a safety deposit box.
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion?
Why those particular people?
Why? Zeke's the treasurer, Brian's the chief, Stephen because he's the sergeant and he usually takes the hard drive to and from, and then myself just as mayor. We can add someone else if you'd like.
How many people have to be there at the time? Two?
We need to decide that too. 2 people need to go, or if 1 person can go. Now, you gotta take in consideration, the police department having to change those, drives out every week. So, it's gonna be hard for 2 of them to go to do that. Or Zeke can
And-
also go do that.
No offense against you or Stephen, but from the outside looking in, it looks weird.
I know.
So
Well,
is there
we don't.
Is there another sergeant that could be?
Maybe we make it, in there another sergeant?
Yeah, is Chief Hell, who else would you like to be on that list besides?
We could put Joe Dow's or Dan Malone, they're both back there in that division, so y'all have to understand, those computers stand alone for a reason.
Sensitive information.
So, either one of those officers would be fine.
And we can take me off of it, that's not a problem.
No, the mayor should be on
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
We're saying, if
Like
you and your
Stephen.
husband go, that may not look good. But if we have you and another officer, I mean, that would probably be better.
Or can we just have 1 person go?
No, I think two,
I think two
two
would be
people
good.
have to
2
go.
people?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like a bankroll.
Yeah, it's a big.
Well, she asked to specify that, so I'm glad that you brought it up, because I completely forgot. Okay, so 2 people,
And then
To go.
recommendation on which. who's
Joe
the group
Dow's,
was? What was it?
Detective Dowles.
need a motion on?
We need a new motion or an amended motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't I just do a new motion?
Okay.
DLWS.
I move to do a safe deposit box at Eagle Bank,
No, First State Bank.
First State Bank, that's what I meant.
Because
that's
it's
what I
like
said.
the furthest away. Yeah, that's what you said. Okay.
Okay. For Casey Griffin, Sergeant Dowles, Brian Hale, and Zeke Wilson, with 2 people accessing at any given time.
Second.
Ready?
All right. Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Louis Short.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Thanks, guys. Okay, I had another add-on last minute. I apologize. Scott had one of our older garbage trucks repaired so that we can have backups, and the total came out to more than 10,000, so I had to come ask for it. The total was $13,618.06.
What's the lead time on it, Scott? How long will it take them to fix it?
They're almost done.
We gotta pay.
I move that we pay United Engines $13,618.68.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
What was that, Jim and Jim? Any discussion?
I did say.
Thanks, Jim and Jim. Vicky?
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Hey, just one second. Hey, Jim, or Scott, have we still got a dump truck that we gotta have, everything's good except the motor, we got motor trouble with one of them? So where are we at on that?
This is that deferred maintenance while we were analyzing last year, is that right?
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
is that next one gonna be this severe?
No, I don't think this next one's as bad. It's more engine issues.
Yeah, we had a little sticker shock this afternoon from this one.
I would think so.
Yeah. Okay, open mic. Would anybody like to address the council?
I would like to thank everybody for their prayers. I was in rough shape.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad to see you back.
I thought I had bucked the farm. I heard one nurse out there saying, look at his chart, he ought to be dead. But anyway, here I am.
Bless you, Jim.
I
Bless.
thank
Glad you're
everybody
here.
for their prayers. And Vicki, I hope you don't have writer's cramp.
I do.
Did anybody want to address the council? Okay, announcements?
Oh, wait.
Oh,
I
we
think
got
I just
one.
saw a hand.
Their hand? Okay, yes, sir, come up to the podium, state your name, and you've got 3 minutes.
All right. Hello, my name's Tom Chapler. I wanted to, well, I'm not ready for this. I wanted to come and introduce myself and my wife. We came to Heber Springs last summer. We were interested in buying some rental property. We have some back in Colorado. The price for rental property in Colorado has about tripled. And so we were looking around the country for places to buy mobile home parks. And lo and behold, we ended up coming to Heber Springs, Arkansas. That was an awesome move. We love Arkansas. But basically, the long and short of it is, we bought a dumpy mobile home park. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but out here it's called Creekside. And it's on 110 by Libby Road. And we knew it needed a little work. It's a little bit of a fixer-upper. We got into the park, and oh my goodness, we had no idea. So what we're doing, we're coming, right now we're finding that we're going to have to pretty much do what they call a heavy lift. This is not just clean them up and rent them out again. What we're doing right now, we're finding that we're not going to rent any of these properties the way they are or the way they have been. If folks want to stay in them, that's great. But as they go empty, we're having to rebuild each one. So what does that have to do with you guys? There are a couple of things. I want to enlist your support from a law enforcement standpoint. This has been a drug-infested park for decades. I hear the stories now. We didn't know this when we bought it, but I hear the stories now. And it is a sad, dark place, or it has been. And we want to change the name, we want to change the place, we want to get security in there, we want to get law enforcement in there. We're working with Detective Qualls over at the sheriff's, so that we're communicating with him about interesting people that we see coming in and out. And so we're really dedicated to changing the place. But if I were you, I'd probably have in the back of my head, that's a place we got to clean up. And what I'm here to do is ask you, let you know what we're doing. We're trying to change it. We can demonstrate a commitment to being there. Lucy and I and our son live on the park. I work for Boeing during my 8 to 5 hours, and so I'm there in the park.
So is this the old Town and Country? Is this the old Town and Country? Okay. It used to be Town and Country Mobile Home Park. I just want to make sure that's what it was. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
And so we're looking for help and cooperation with law enforcement. We may come and whine about our trash service is killing us. There's some things like that, but it's especially an issue right now because we're moving people out. That park is about half empty right now. And most of the people that have left, we haven't really missed. So we are gradually beginning to bring people in. We've only got about 4 homes that are actually up to our standards now, that are cleaned up, solid, clean, safe homes that we're getting ready to rent out. And we're only renting them out to people that we vet very carefully, do background checks, credit checks, all of that. So anyway, we may be back if things come up, but I wanted to let you guys know what we're doing. Look for cooperate. We want you to know that we want to cooperate, especially with law enforcement, code enforcement, emergency services, those guys. So anyway, that's what we're here for, and that's what we're working on.
Well,
Thank
Tom,
you.
welcome, and thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to Heber.
Absolutely.
My name is Andrea Gretsch, and I have a question about the leaves.
Yes, ma'am.
What am I supposed to do with them? They're rotting in my front yard.
What is your address?
2316 West Smoky Ridge.
2316?
West Smoky Ridge. They've been there since November. And I can't do anything with them. I can't even burn them because they're rotten. How many of you have leaves in your front yard? 1, 2 people.
All of us.
All of us do.
You all have leaves in your front
We all do.
yard?
Yeah.
I'm tired of mine. I really am. I mean, what am I supposed to do with them?
Were you here earlier this evening when we were discussing it?
Excuse me?
Were you here earlier this evening when we were discussing it?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so.
So it didn't get anywhere.
I think
We're
it did.
contractually obligated to finish out the next 2 weeks.
We have
And
10
in the
days
mean-
before we can do anything else.
Right.
All right, you've got my address.
Yes.
I expect the leaves to be picked up. I appreciate it. And what's that $25 that we're being charged for? What's the breakdown?
It's
Sanitation.
sanitation, which is increase in, which we had to get new garbage trucks. It also complies
Salaries.
with salaries, increase in dumping fees, increase in yardage. So we have to pass along some of those, and the rates went up, what, 3 times last year for dumping fees? So that's just gotta get passed along. The last time we did it was 2018.
So if I get rid of my garbage myself and I don't have any leaves or limbs, are you gonna take that $25 off my bill?
No,
No.
you can't dispose of your own garbage.
So I'm gonna be stuck with $25 to pick up leaves and limbs in June when there will be leaves and limbs, never mind.
You're not being charged for leaves and limbs.
Thank you, Ms. Andrea. Anyone else? Okay, I've got some announcements. Our Arkansas Municipal League Conference is going to be June 14th through the 16th. We got 3 hotel rooms. That's all we can book. If anybody wants to go. Did you have something? Okay.
You said June?
June 14th through the 16th.
What is it?
Municipal League.
Okay.
And so we'll probably have to move June council meeting also. It's always the week of council.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to go, let me or Miss Amy know and we can get you signed up.
I'll let you know as soon as I think that I'm able.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay.
Safita Senior Fish Fries coming up March 31st. It'll be here at the center. Makers Market is coming up, and the Bronco Stampede is going to be at the end of the month and April 1st. And it's also got a music festival, so it should be really fun. Ronnie McDowell.
Ronnie McDowell, really?
Ronnie McDowell.
They'll be at Spring Park, April 1st. Not Spring Park.
Sandy Beach.
Sandy Beach.
Sandy Beach. Okay. That's all we got. Is it a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.